right, now let's get the latest. We're now joined via Zoom by advocate Simba Chitando, Zimbabwe Exemption Permit Holders Association. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, you've heard that report, just giving us a brief history in terms of why we are here. So a lot hangs in the balance, for that estimated 178,000 Zimbabweans living in this country. We do understand, and of course we heard in that previous clip, that many permit holders, they say they don't want to go. They don't have a plan post government's 30 June deadline. So just give us the very latest in terms of what is happening from your end and what is the plan.
Thank you very much. Greetings to your audience. Some do not have a plan, whilst others do have a plan and have exercised their plan, their process. Some have already returned to Zimbabwe. Some are waiting for the judgment by the Pretoria High Court, where this decision by the South African government has been challenged. So we are waiting for direction from the High Court in the case of those who would like to stay and have challenged the government's decision to end the ZEP program, the ZEP permit that has been instituted.
Of course, you're talking about the court case that was brought forward by the Helen Suzman Foundation, against the discontinuation of these permits. So talk to me about that. We at this point in time don't know when that judgment will be heard, and when it will come forth. There are a lot of people waiting anxiously to find out what that will say. But of course, that this will be challenged, but at least by the Department of Home Affairs. What is the plan should the court rule in favor of the South African government?
Well, the litigation has been brought about by not just the Helen Suzman Foundation, but also by other parties, several other parties. If successful in that litigation, and we are in the hands of the court, then the relief, we wait for the relief, and the relief would give us direction of what would happen to the ZEP holders. Some of the parties of instituted litigation have sought permanent residence, see a path to it for ZEP holders, which is what the association which I represent is seeking, whilst others, the Suzman Foundation, have asked for, I think, an order to for the government to reconsider their decision. Either way, we are bound by the court decision, and we do not know when it will take place. If we are successful, if all the parties who are in favor of the ZEP holders' rights, if we are successful, then the government would have to take a decision whether they're going to appeal the judgment. And obviously, if we're unsuccessful, I can guarantee you that we would appeal a judgment that is not in favor of the ZEP holders.
Except legal representatives, for Home Affairs Department, argued that the minister's decision is in fact not reviewable, saying that, it didn't strip ZEP holders of any rights and that it is in fact vested, it has in fact vested them with more rights. What's your comment on that?
Well, I beg to differ. I do not believe that the minister's decision has given ZEP holders more rights. Contrary, the Immigration Act is very clear. After 5 years of being lawfully resident in the country, which the vast majority of ZEP holders comply with or meet that requirement, they ought to be able to apply for permanent residency. In this matter, they've been denied that right. So I disagree, and all decisions by the government are subject to a review application, and that's what has actually taken place, and we wait for the judgment in that matter.
I mean, also there are questions of, safety concerns for many Zimbabweans who are living in this country, as you've heard from that report by my fellow colleague Kenny Mapanga, saying that a lot of South African citizens are concerned about the socio-economic situation in this country and have taken a lot of their frustrations out on many foreign nationals, not just Zimbabweans. So just in terms of come the 30th of June, which is the deadline, just some safety concerns or issues that you may have around, many Zimbabweans who will still probably be in the country by then.
That's a very good point. Thank you for raising it. Safety concerns are very real when dealing with matters regarding ethnic tension, which we have seen in the past turn violent. And that is a matter for the South African police. It is a matter for South African security services and intelligence to clamp down on anyone who would take advantage of this tension to take part in any illegal activity. So we wait for them. We wait for the Minister of Police and the security cluster to do what they're supposed to do to keep everybody safe. That said, our two peoples, Zimbabweans and South Africans, were neighbors and have had business dealings and personal dealings for several years, and will continue to do so. And that won't change because of people who would like to take advantage of the situation and take part in criminal activity.
Advocate Chitando, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate your analysis right here on the channel. Of course, as Advocate Simba Chitando just speaking to us there as the deadline for the expiry of the ZEP permit holders looms. Of course, we'll keep a very close eye to the story until that deadline of the 30 June 2023.